Before the college entrance exam, my adoptive mother secretly came to find me. She wanted my underwear and 7 strands of my hair, saying it was to pray for my success in the exam, but she didn't know that. Last month, I had already discovered her, trying to swap my fate with that of her biological son, so I turned the tables on her. I gave her the hair and clothes of a mentally ill person. Since I was a child, I was adopted to be a tool to shield the real young master from disasters. When I was little, I didn't understand why every time my younger brother got sick, my adoptive mother would ask me to stay by his side and take care of him all day. Every time I took care of him, my younger brother would recover very quickly. But afterward, I would fall seriously ill. It wasn't until later that I met my master. He told me that my younger brother and I were compatible in yin and yang, 2 halves of the universe. I was the good half. My adoptive parents adopted me so that my good fortune could offset the bad luck on their biological son. Blocking disaster after disaster would gradually improve my younger brother's fate while I would gradually head towards ruin. 3 days ago, while saving my younger brother, I was hit by a car and thrown more than 20 meters. Everyone said I wouldn't survive. My adoptive parents arrived at the scene, and their first reaction wasn't to check my injuries, but to comfort my younger brother, who was trembling with fear. They even gloated over my accident. The front of the car is completely smashed. He's probably not going to make it. That's for the best. If he dies, it means he has blocked the great calamity in our son's fate. It wasn't a waste for our family to raise him all these years. At that time, I was lying on the ground, dazed, my limbs turning cold. They never expected that. Not only did I not die in this accident, but my biological parents also happened to find me through the news of the accident, and they were a truly wealthy and powerful family. From then on, my status soared. I became a young master worth hundreds of billions. But when I was brought back to my biological parents' home, I discovered there was something wrong with a maid in the house. Dad, you have some karmic entanglement on you. If left alone, it might affect the feng shui of the house. If you're willing to pay and hire me, I can help resolve it. Just 50,000 yuan. Although I've returned home, I've never been in the habit of asking others for money. This time, I could get rid of an evil aura and also earn my college tuition money along the way. My father and older sister beside me heard this and thought I was short on money, using feng shui and metaphysics as an excuse to ask for pocket money. They felt a little heartache in their hearts. Since when does a child of our family need to ask for 50,000 yuan in pocket money? My eldest sister, Jiang Li, decisively took out her phone, planning to transfer me 50,000. Is that enough? I'll transfer you another 100,000. If it's not enough, just tell me. Dad, Jiang Yu Cheng, also took out his phone, preparing to transfer 300,000. Hearing that, I knew they had misunderstood something. I was about to open my mouth when I heard a scoff from the side. Such a cheap trick to scam money, and you have the nerve to ask for it? Just for a mere 50,000 yuan. How utterly shameless. My younger brother, Jiang Cheng, stood beside me, mocking. My gaze only swept past his face, not paying him any mind. I just looked back at the maid named Wu. The marriage line in your life palace is broken. You must have lost your husband early, but you have a son. Judging from your features, your son is facing a tribulation related to money. When she heard the last sentence, a flicker of panic crossed Auntie W's eyes. I continued. Logically speaking, your personal karma shouldn't be enough to affect the master of the house, but I see a tiny connection between your fortune and the Jiang families. A very subtle connection. You have stolen the Jiang family's wealth energy. I said the last sentence with great certainty. Auntie Wu's body immediately began to tremble. My father had originally been listening as if it were a child's prank, but seeing my serious tone, when he heard my subsequent words, his gaze became somewhat serious. The onlookers around them began to whisper. Are you saying Auntie Wu stole money from the family? That's impossible. There must be some misunderstanding. Auntie Wu has worked for the Jiang family for nearly 10 years. How could she do such a thing? Auntie Wu, who was originally a bit panicked, heard this and immediately put on a wronged expression. Young master, you can't just say things like that. How could I possibly steal money from the Jiang family? Everyone in this house knows me. I am not that kind of person. Jiang Cheng had a very effeminate temperament, and since Auntie Wu had taken care of him since he was a child, seeing her being wrong like this, he immediately frowned and glared at me. He said loudly, "What kind of person are you? How could Auntie Wu possibly steal money from the family? Today is your first day back in the Jiang family. What do you know? You don't know anything, yet you're here slandering others, just to scam a few tens of thousands in pocket money." As soon as he finished speaking, Auntie Wu burst into tears. Young master, I know my status is low. How could I dare compare myself to someone like you? But you can't slander me like this. I am already at this age. By doing this, you're trying to take my life. With Jiang Cheng standing up for her, Auntie Wu became much more confident. She even straightened her back, her face filled with indignation from being wronged. If the young master doesn't believe me, you can have people search my room. I have a clear conscience. I am not afraid of a search. Even though I am a maid, I won't let others falsely accuse me. The commotion over here was a bit loud, and the maids and butler of the villa all gathered around. They just didn't dare to get too close, listening to the general situation from a distance. In their hearts, towards this newly returned young master, they developed a bit of animosity. My father noticed the gazes of the surrounding maids on me, and his face tensed as he stared at me. He was just about to open his mouth to stop this farce. When I spoke again, my voice calm and steady. When did I say she stole money? The moment these words were spoken, everyone present was stunned. Jiang Chang was the first to speak out impatiently. You just said yourself that Auntie Wu stole money. Why are you denying it now? I glanced at him. I said she stole the Jiang family's wealth energy. Stealing wealth energy and directly stealing money are two different things. At the very least, a direct search wouldn't find anything. It's because she had this to fall back on that Auntie Wu dared to casually ask for a search just now. Jiang Chang was completely befuddled, feeling that I was just making excuses. How can you steal wealth energy? Stop with all this mysterious stuff. It sounds like a scam. I couldn't be bothered with him anymore, and turned back to look at Auntie Wu. Suddenly, I raised my hand and pointed to a spot. What did you bury there? The direction I pointed was a flower bed in the corner of the garden, which was also the place where Auntie Wu had been distracted earlier, and had subconsciously glanced at. Auntie Wu was already on edge, and seeing me point to the exact location, her heart immediately jumped. The cold sweat on her forehead was about to drip down. My father and sister saw Auntie Wu's reaction, and already confirmed something in their hearts. They turned and gestured for the butler beside them to go. The butler was already curious, and now that he received the command, he quickly walked towards where I was pointing. The few onlookers also went to the flower bed. The others were full of curiosity, while Jiang Chang was completely unconvinced, with an expression that said, "Let's see what tricks you can pull." He also followed. Seeing me point to the soil at the base of a flower, the butler said nothing. He squatted down, picked up a small shovel, and started digging. And as the butler acted, Auntie Wu beside him turned pale, her legs giving way. But at this moment, everyone's attention was on the butler, so no one noticed her expression. The soil in the flower bed was tilled regularly, so the butler dug effortlessly. In just a few digs, he made a small hole. Soon after, the shovel seemed to hit something. The butler's eyes immediately lit up. He's dug something up. Finally, the small shovel dug up a black plastic bag. The plastic bag was wrapped very tightly. He reached out to peel off the outer plastic wrapping. The moment it was unwrapped, the few onlookers around smelled a foul odor, coming from a paper packet wrapped inside the plastic bag. The butler's expression suddenly changed. He suppressed his nausea and reached for the paper packet, but I suddenly stopped him from the side. Don't touch it. I flipped out a yellow talisman in my hand and stuck it onto the paper packet. The moment the talisman was placed on the packet, the paper on the packet quickly darkened and aged. The butler glanced at me again. After getting my approval, he reached through his gloves and gently opened the paper packet. Inside, the paper was red, like the red paper commonly used in temples to write birth dates for fortune-telling. And when the red paper was unfolded, there were indeed several lines of birth characters written on it, but the characters seemed to be written in blood, which had dried and turned black, and it clearly emitted a foul smell. Additionally, there also seemed to be a few strands of hair in the paper packet and a talisman with strange symbols drawn on it. Such an evil thing. It was obviously buried here on purpose. Combined with what I had said, how could everyone not guess what these things were used for? They just didn't believe that such things could really steal wealth energy. Jiang Chang, who saw the object being dug up with his own eyes, was also filled with disbelief. He immediately turned his head to look at Auntie Wu. He saw Auntie Wu's lips trembling, her face full of grievance. No, I didn't bury it. I've really never seen these things before. Everyone, please believe me. Whether you buried it or not, well know by checking the villa's external surveillance cameras. The external surveillance cameras of the Jiang family's villa cover almost every corner. It's not difficult to investigate clearly. Furthermore, a luck-transferring talisman requires a medium, meaning it was written with your blood, and the hair wrapped inside belongs to a member of the Jiang family. Using the Jiang family's bloodline to steal the Jiang family's wealth energy. Am I wrong? When Auntie Wu heard this, her whole body trembled, her face turned pale, and she collapsed to the ground. Seeing her like this, everyone present understood. This paper packet was definitely buried by her. After all, Auntie Wu had worked as a maid for the Jiang family for many years. Wanting to get 1 or 2 strands of hair from a Jiang family member was truly too easy. We just don't know which unlucky person's hair this is. Even if she buried it, you can't say she stole some wealth energy. Maybe. Jiang Chang at the side was still trying to argue stubbornly. Jiang Li directly glared at him. Shut up, don't make me say it a second time. After receiving Jiang Li's warning, Jiang Chang decisively shut his mouth and said no more. Auntie Wu was quickly taken away by the villa's security guards. But this matter wasn't easy to handle. On the surface, Auntie Wu didn't steal any of the Jiang family's assets. Reporting it to the police would certainly be useless. At most, it would be considered a superstitious act. After all, this matter of stealing wealth energy really had no factual basis. But since such a thing had happened, Auntie Wu definitely couldn't stay in the Jiang family anymore. Young master, how should these things be handled? The butler, standing beside me, asked. Just burn them. After speaking, I took out my phone and casually did something on it. Jiang Li saw from the corner of her eye that I took the 100,000 yuan she had just transferred to me and immediately transferred 50,000 yuan to some account. Seeing this, Jiang Li secretly raised an eyebrow, but didn't ask much. What's given to me is mine. How I want to spend it is up to me. At this time, in the large study of the villa, the butler reported the incident in the downstairs garden to old Master Jiang. The old master was a little surprised. That child actually knows about these things? The butler thought for a moment and said, it could also be a coincidence. He said, the camera showed that thing was buried a month ago. According to the young master, the Jiang family should have lost some wealth, energy, but I later asked CEO Jiang, and neither the company nor the family has suffered any financial loss recently. The old master fell silent after hearing this. Then he smiled. It seems it's just a child's little hobby. So be it. As long as it's nothing major, let him do as he pleases. As for Auntie Wu, even though she wasn't successful, she had evil intentions. Of course, she can no longer be kept in the Jiang family. As for me, when I heard the Jiang family hadn't lost any money, my first reaction was disbelief. Impossible. Although it was only a little, Auntie Wu did indeed steal a portion of the Jiang family's wealth energy. That sliver of wealth energy was enough for Auntie Wu's family to gain an unexpected fortune. I was still very sure about this point. When Jiang Cheng heard this, he burst out laughing. I told you he was a fraud. What's this stealing wealth energy? I've never even heard of it. I glanced at him, then turned directly to Jiang Li. Have someone investigate this month's financial records of Auntie Wu and her son, and you'll know. Jiang Li was also curious about my abilities. She made a phone call to delegate the task, and very quickly, the person on the other end sent the investigation results. The moment she saw the results, Jiang Li's expression became uncharacteristically strange. The Wu family did indeed receive a windfall recently. They won a 5 million lottery ticket. I immediately put on a C. I told you so expression. Wealth energy is something that one side loses and the other gains. If the other side gained 5 million, then the Jiang family must have lost several million. Accordingly, I said very seriously. Jiang Li was a bit speechless. Last week, a subsidiary's project had some issues, and we did indeed lose several million. When you said we lost money before, I thought we lost at least several hundred million. Turns out it was only a few million. Jiang Li's expression seemed to say, it's not that I didn't remember, it's that your choice of words misled me. So it's not that our wealth energy wasn't siphoned off, but that the small amount of wealth energy the other party took was like a single hair from a cow to the Jiang family, the kind that you wouldn't even notice if it fell. Damn these rich people. Auntie Wu's son, a few months ago, gambled away all the family's savings. Last month, he was arrested for drunk driving, causing a fatal accident. The victim's family demanded 2 million in compensation before they would agree to drop the charges. Auntie Wu must have been because of this that she thought of stealing the Jiang family's wealth energy. Auntie Wu's actions were exposed, and she confessed everything herself. In less than an hour, Jiang Li had someone investigate the reasons behind it. When I heard about the fatal drunk driving accident, I subconsciously connected it with the evil aura on Auntie Wu that she was stained with. Just for a moment, I quickly realized something was wrong. If Auntie Wu's son killed someone in a car accident, Auntie Wu would at most be stained with an indirect evil aura. But the evil aura on her seemed more like it had fallen directly upon her. I thought for a moment and then asked Jiang Li, can you show me a photo of Auntie Wu's son? Jiang Li sent a message and very quickly got a photo of Auntie Wu's son. The photo on the phone was enlarged. I only glanced at the photo of Auntie Wu's son and frowned. Something's wrong. This person shouldn't have these facial features. After saying that, I asked for this person's birth characters. I took out 3 Song Bao coins and started a divination on the spot. Jiang Cheng, seeing this, had a look of contempt on his face, muttering disdainfully, putting on a show of ghosts and gods again. I didn't want to bother with him either. I quickly finished the divination, my expression becoming a bit more serious. Jiang Cheng started trying to make his presence felt again, asking in a sarcastic tone, so what? Did you pinch your fingers and calculate some kind of bloody disaster? I was too lazy to pay attention to him, and spoke directly to Jiang Li. Calculating from this person's birth characters, he should have been fated to be born with a mental disability. In Buddhism, there are the 8 wisdoms. If a person's sins from their past life are heavy, and they wish to be reborn as a human in this life, they will be deprived of one wisdom, causing them to be born intellectually disabled. But this person currently possesses all 8 wisdoms. Auntie Wu must have used some other method to make him a normal person, but perhaps Auntie Wu didn't know that if a person who did evil in their past life is born intellectually disabled in this life, so be it. If their intelligence is restored, it is equivalent to defying fate and changing one's destiny. Not only will their lifespan be reduced, but they will also be prone to becoming a bad person. Auntie Wu's son being addicted to gambling and killing someone while drunk driving are clearly the evil consequences of restoring his intelligence. I was speaking in the living room, and I didn't deliberately avoid the people nearby. Another maid was eavesdropping with her ears perked up. Hearing this, she clearly had something to say, but was hesitant due to her status, and didn't dare to speak rashly. Jiang Li keenly noticed her troubled expression and asked, Auntie Zhang, what's wrong? The maid named Auntie Zhang immediately stepped forward and said, when Auntie Wu first came to the Zhang family, she did say that her son had an intellectual disability. He used to be enrolled in a special needs school. Auntie Wu and I started working for the Jiang family around the same time. We used to chat privately, so regarding Auntie Wu's family matters, I know the situation quite well. As soon as she finished speaking, I quickly asked her, then do you know when her son stopped being intellectually disabled? Auntie Zhang thought carefully and said, probably 8 years ago. I remember one day she was very happy, saying her son was cured. I think it was summer then. I understand. I turned my head and asked Jiang Li, 8 years ago, was there a child around, Auntie Wu or the Jiang family, who was originally of normal intelligence, but suddenly became intellectually disabled one day? Everyone present, including Jiang Yucheng who had been silent all along, was stunned when they heard my words. All were stunned. What you mean is, to make a mentally disabled person become normal, you can only take the intellect from another person and transfer it to your own family member. But the person whose intellect is taken will definitely replace the other and become mentally disabled. The reason I asked about Auntie Wu and the Jiang family's vicinity is because Auntie Wu has worked for the Jiang family for 10 years, so her daily sphere of activity is also at the Jiang residence. Therefore, the suitable person she could choose could only be within a limited range. When I said this, everyone tacitly understood. Jiang Cheng subconsciously thought of someone and blurted out, "That idiot, from Uncle Song's family." Several people in the living room simultaneously turned to look at Jiang Cheng. "You are not to call Miss Song that." Jiang Yucheng coldly reprimanded Jiang Cheng, then turned his head back to look at me. At this point, although he still didn't believe in his heart that I had any abilities beyond ordinary people, his face had taken on a few more degrees of seriousness. Regarding the matter of the Song family's young lady, it's no longer just about Auntie Wu alone. The Song family and the Jiang family are considered longtime friends. The Song family's young lady indeed became foolish 8 years ago. But the reason the Song family's young lady became foolish was because when she was learning to ride a horse, she unexpectedly fell and injured her head. Otherwise, with the Song family's background, if their child suddenly became foolish, they would definitely have sought a great master to look into it. It was precisely because an external force caused her to become foolish that the Song family never considered anything other than a medical perspective from start to finish. I wasn't certain, so I asked again. "So, did the Song family's young lady visit the Jiang family as a guest 8 years ago?" Hearing this, Jiang Li's expression turned slightly serious. She said with certainty, "She did." "Do you have a photo of her?" When I saw the photo, at first glance, I confirmed it was her. The matter concerning the Song family is not something to be trifled with. The Song family has deep roots, and is also a prestigious family with a century-long legacy. If this is true, then it could be said that the Song family's young lady was indirectly harmed by the Jiang family. Even if the Jiang family had no idea from start to finish that Auntie Wu was responsible, in the eyes of outsiders, it's no different from the Jiang family having done it. With just a slight misstep, the friendship between the Jiang and Song families could come to an end. What's all this nonsense about swapping things? It sounds like you're just making things up. If it were really that easy to swap, then I could do it too. Couldn't I? Jiang Cheng retorted with a disdainful look. I saw him tirelessly jumping around, and finally deigned to reply to him. You really could use a swap. Hearing this, Jiang Cheng suddenly reacted. Are you daring to insult me? His face immediately flushed red. He pointed at me, looking like he wanted to fight. At the same time, my adoptive mother from the Du family, Bai Shu Qin, and Du Tu Dang just walked in the door. They saw Du Bao Cheng coming downstairs while on the phone, his face full of anxiety. Assistant Tan, haven't we already settled everything? The terms from both sides were nearly finalized. Why did the Jiang Hai group suddenly say they're no longer cooperating? When Bai Shu Qin and Du Tu Dang heard this, they felt their hearts skip a beat. As they looked at each other, they could both see the guilt in the other's eyes. Du Bao Cheng tried to control his emotions with the person on the other end of the line, even speaking with a hint of flattery. Were the terms we offered too high? This is all negotiable. The profit margin we discussed earlier. We can also make some concessions. I am very sincere about wanting to cooperate with the Jiang Hai group. The person on the other end said something else. Du Bao Cheng's facial muscles twitched slightly. His whole body seemed to collapse in an instant. He immediately slumped down onto the chair by the entrance. Seeing this, Bai Shu, Qin, and Du Tudang hurried over. Dad, what's wrong? Du Bao Cheng held his head, his expression frustrated. What's wrong? How would I know what's wrong? The Jiang Hai group suddenly called to cancel the cooperation. Everything was clearly fine before. As he spoke, he suddenly looked towards Bai Shu Qin. Didn't you take Tu Dang to the Jiang family's house to pay a visit? Did you cause some kind of trouble at the Jiang family's house? When Bai Shu Qin heard him ask, her heart started pounding. She moved her lips, just about to explain, when Du Tu Dang beside her pulled her back. Nothing happened. Dad, we didn't even get to meet Madame Jiang. Du Tu Dang signaled to Bai Shu Qin, clearly not wanting her to say anything. Hearing this, Du Bao Cheng didn't suspect much. He just ran his hands through his hair in frustration, muttering to himself, then what could be the reason? The Jiang Hai group is such a good partner. If we could successfully partner with the Jiang Hai group, our family could take another step forward. No, I can't just let it go like this. With that, he stood up and quickly went outside. Seeing that he had left the main door, Bai Shu Qin then turned to Du Tudang. Tudang, why didn't you let me tell your father just now? The Jiang family canceling the cooperation, it might be because of that brat. Mom, Du Tudang quickly stopped Bai Shu Qin, saying resentfully, I thought about it carefully on the way back. That President Zhang didn't explicitly say that Du Fei is his son. Maybe we misheard. Du Tudang didn't want to believe that. After I left the Du family, I had become the great young master of the Jiang family in a single step. He couldn't accept that my status was more noble than his. How could we have misheard? If Du Fei isn't President Jiang's son, why would the Jiang family suddenly cancel the cooperation between our two families? Then why did that butler say those things? Bai Shuqin felt that there was an 80 to 90% chance that I was the son the Jiang family had just found. Otherwise, how could it be such a coincidence? If Du Fei is the long-lost son of the Jiang family, why didn't the Jiang family even send a single person to our house to pick him up? The person who contacted Dad before also said they live deep in the mountains and the signal is bad. A family like the Jiangs has absolutely no need to deceive us. Du Tu Dang tried to convince Bai Shuqin and also to convince himself it must be so. Du Tu Dang said with a determined expression, then took out his phone. Just now, the group chat was also talking about this young master of the Jiang family. They said the Jiang family will be holding a party the day after tomorrow to formally introduce that great young master of the Jiang family. If we can find a way to get an invitation to the party, we'll know for sure when we see it with our own eyes. Hearing this, Bai Shuqin clapped her hands in approval. It's decided then. I'll figure out how to get the invitation. Night fell. Inside and outside the Jiang family's villa, it was completely quiet. Only a few scattered bedrooms still had their lights on. I closed my eyes, no longer thinking about the people and matters of the Jiang family, but turned my thoughts to another issue. Since I came to the Jiang family has never mentioned my biological mother. Had she already passed away, or was there another hidden story? As I was thinking, a familiar cry seemed to pierce through my consciousness, ringing shrilly. I snapped my eyes open. As if thinking of something, my expression changed. I got out of bed and stood up, grabbing a jacket and quickly running to the window. I opened the window and looked at the pitch-black night sky. The next second, a yellow talisman suddenly appeared in my hand. I decisively threw it into the air, while simultaneously chanting silently, "Heaven and earth, be clear. Universe, unite as one. Command without seams. Gentle wind, come forth." After chanting, I braced myself with one hand, and without a moment's hesitation, jumped out of the third-floor windowsill. Then, a gentle breeze swept the yellow talisman towards me. My falling body, in an instant, seemed to be enveloped by a gentle breeze. Then, the gentle breeze supported my body, bringing me to a steady landing on the ground. By the second-floor window, Jiang Cheng was playing a game with his best sisters. Out of the corner of his eye, he seemed to see something fall from upstairs. He subconsciously turned his head, but because of this brief distraction, the game displayed a notification that he had been eliminated. Oh my god. Jiang Cheng let out a miserable cry, jumping up from his chair. He remembered who was on the floor above, and immediately went to the window in a fit of rage to see what I had thrown downstairs, preparing to pick it up and throw it right in my face. However, when he stuck his head out to look down, he seemed to see a figure quickly crossing the garden. Just as Jiang Cheng was about to get a closer look, the figure vanished without a trace. What the hell was that? Why did it look so much like that fortune teller Du Fei? As for me, after leaving the house, I quickly ran in one direction. From a distance, I saw a large 3-story villa. At this moment, the villa was brightly lit. As I got closer, I could faintly hear a chaotic commotion inside the villa. Yelp, it was that familiar cry again. I quickened my pace, running to the main gate of the villa. Through the iron gate of the garden, I saw, as expected, several security guards in the garden, chasing a small creature that was scurrying all over the place. Seeing a guard pull out a retractable baton, about to strike the small creature, my expression changed. I yelled through the gate, "Don't touch it. That's my pet." As I spoke, I subconsciously reached for a talisman. However, before I could do anything, the walkie-talkie on the guard's person seemed to transmit an indistinct voice. I only saw one of them make some kind of gesture, and the guard who was about to strike immediately retracted the baton in his hand. The next second, the iron gate in front of me opened automatically. I quickly stepped inside. The small creature surrounded by the guards quickly rushed towards me. Originally hidden in the shadows, the little fellow's true appearance was revealed. It was a small, snow-white fox. Its body was round, with a large, fluffy tail trailing behind. It was even wearing a pet backpack on its back, which was clearly filled with things. As it ran, the backpack on its back swayed back and forth. The little fox dashed in front of me in just a few steps, clinging to my leg and starting to climb up me, whimpering pitifully as it climbed. I helplessly put my hand under the little fox's bottom and picked it up. I was wondering, with a little fox sense of smell, it couldn't possibly have gone to the wrong place. While thinking, I felt a flash of golden light in the corner of my eye. I subconsciously looked up and saw at the entrance of the villa a large, familiar golden aura. Looking closer, it was a person, and an acquaintance at that. This place was actually Shen Yui's house. I walked forward, holding the little fox, feeling a bit embarrassed. "Miss Shen, I am sorry. This is my pet fox. It came looking for me, but it must have come to the wrong place." Shen Yue looked at me in my thin pajamas, clearly having left home in a hurry, only managing to throw on a jacket. "It doesn't look like it came to the wrong place." Shen Yui's cold voice in the dark night was even more chilling. Her light-colored eyes glanced at the little fox in my arms. I followed her gaze and looked down, only to see the fox that had been whimpering in my arms was now stretching its neck, trying to get closer to Shen Yue. Its fox eyes stared intently at her. At this moment, I understood why the little fox had gone to the wrong place. It was clearly attracted by the golden aura. The little fox yelped with a threatening warning. I tightened my grip slightly. I haven't even gotten a share of this golden aura, and you want some? Dream on. Having been warned, the little fox finally restrained itself. Although it no longer struggled to get closer to her, its beautiful fox eyes still looked pitifully at Shen Yue. It truly looked pathetic. I subconsciously took a step forward to explain, the little fox actually just likes beautiful people. I've troubled you today, Miss Shen. It's late, so I won't disturb you any longer. I will come to apologize early tomorrow morning. After speaking, I turned to go home. I decided to deal with the little fox when I got home. As soon as I entered, I saw Jiang Li standing at the top of the stairs, clearly waiting for me, and at the bend of the second-floor staircase. Jiang Cheng poked his head out, with a gossipy expression on his face. When Jiang Cheng saw the fox in my arms, he couldn't help but lower his voice and point at me to question, "What the hell is that thing you're holding? Our house doesn't allow furry pets inside." Hearing that, I glanced at him and seriously asked back, "If they're not allowed in, then why are you here?" Jiang Cheng's expression froze, filled with pure stupidity. Jiang Li, beside him, burst out laughing. Only then did Jiang Cheng realize, and his face immediately flushed red, preparing to lose his temper. You, it's so late. Grandpa and everyone else must be asleep, right? My one gentle sentence instantly extinguished Jiang Cheng's erupting volcano. No making noise after dark, this was a rule of the Jiang family. Moreover, Grandpa was elderly and went to bed early. It wasn't good for an elderly person's health to be suddenly woken up. Jiang Cheng could only suppress a belly full of anger and angrily turned to go upstairs. I watched Jiang Cheng leave, then turned my head to look at Jiang Li. This is my pet fox. It knew I moved, so it came to find me. Don't worry, sis. I've already rented a place for it outside. It will only stay here for one night. I'll take it away early tomorrow morning. The meaning behind my words was that I wouldn't cause any more trouble for the family. This is your home. In your own home, you can raise whatever you want. I was stunned for a moment. But didn't Jiang Cheng say that furry pets aren't allowed? You said it yourself. If he can get in, why can't your fox? Jiang Li raised an eyebrow, smiling as she used the words I had just said to Jiang Cheng to reply to me. At the same time, she reached out and gently tapped the little fox's head, an elegant and intimate gesture. Seeing me still staring at her blankly, Jiang Li just smiled gently at me. Don't worry, I am here. I nodded to express my thanks, then carried the little fox back to my room. I looked at the little fox with a serious expression. Didn't I tell you to stay put and not run around? Tonight, you were almost zapped into a roasted fox. The little fox seemed to understand my words. It jumped to the ground, spun around very innocently, and then gestured towards the backpack on its back. Its little expression seemed to say, "You moved? I came to depend on you. What's wrong with that?" I snorted softly, squatted down, and only then did I take the small backpack off its back. When I saw the things inside, I smiled slightly. In the backpack, besides a can of pâté for the little fox, the rest was my yellow talisman paper and cinnabar ink, as well as some of my specialized tools. Previously, because of the car accident, I had been in the hospital for 3 days. Although I had found someone to come and take care of it, the little fox was clearly worried that I didn't have any supplies on hand. I rubbed the little fox's fluffy head, and then put the things away. Ever since I started learning mystical arts from my shifu, I had rented a small house on my own. Besides not wanting the Du family to know I was learning these things, it was also to store my belongings. Therefore, when Bai Shuqin kicked me out of the house earlier, I didn't bring any luggage with me at all because all my important things weren't at the Du family's house. I had originally planned that after settling in here, I would find time to visit the little fox. I didn't expect it to come scurrying all the way here on its own. Although it was a bit late, I still took the little fox into the bathroom and gave it a thorough bath from head to toe. Perhaps because I stayed up too late last night, I woke up a bit late the next day. The next second, I heard a blood-curdling scream from downstairs. "Ah, there's a fox. Butler, get over here." Immediately after, there was another scream. Where did this wild fox come from? Quick, catch it. I was almost instantly awake. I shot up, looking all around, but the room was empty. Hearing the continuous screams from downstairs, my expression immediately changed slightly. I flew downstairs and immediately saw a snow-white figure, quickly dash to my feet, and then nimbly leap into my arms. Seeing this, the butler and the guards who were chasing the little fox all stopped in their tracks. At the same time, the other people in the Jiang household also saw the little fox snuggled in my arms. "Du Fei, you didn't bring this fox here, did you? There are children in the house. What if it bites someone?" That's right. I said it last night. It's not allowed in the house, but he just wouldn't listen. Jiang Cheng had also come downstairs after hearing the noise. Hearing this, he immediately added fuel to the fire. "This is my pet fox, but it won't bite people casually." I held the little fox in my arms, my tone firm. When Jiang Li walked in, she saw such a scene. I was standing at the top of the stairs holding the fox, surrounded by a crowd of people, as if holding a struggle session. The familiar smile at the corners of her mouth turned a little cold. Jiang Li stepped forward herself. I agreed to let Xiao Fai raise the fox. If anyone has any objections, you can tell me. Jiang Cheng stepped forward from the side, his tone gentle. Eldest sister, we're not targeting him. It's just that this fox appeared so suddenly. Besides, with grandma, he trailed off. But everyone knew what he was referring to. Old Madame Jiang disliked furry pets. They had never been allowed in the house before. The old madam was in poor health, so the family usually didn't dare to go against her wishes. She was currently recuperating at a resort. If she came home and saw an extra fox in the house, wouldn't it make the old madam sick with anger? Jiang Cheng was implicitly reminding Jiang Li. Hearing this, Jiang Li just smiled faintly. I will talk to grandma about it. Although she was smiling, her tone allowed no room for doubt. Then she turned her head and instructed the person following behind her, set up the pet house on the east side, and build a shed by the garden. Only then did everyone notice that behind Jiang Li were two workmen carrying wooden crates. It seemed even the supplies and housing for the fox had been prepared. With the suppression of Jiang Li's bloodline, no one dared to have any objections about me raising a fox anymore. They were just waiting for old Madame Jiang to return, waiting for me and the little fox to be kicked out of the house together. I didn't know what they were thinking. I carried the little fox upstairs. After changing my clothes and finishing breakfast, I solemnly groomed the little fox fur, ensuring every strand was sleek and shiny. Only then did I satisfiedly carry my darling out. Because I woke up late, I had lost a lot of time. It was already 10:30 a.m. when I went out, thinking that at this hour, Shen Yue had probably already gone to her company. But after causing such a commotion last night, I still decided to go to her house to apologize first. What I didn't expect was that Shen Yue was actually at home, dressed in a business suit. She was exquisitely and impeccably dressed from head to toe, clearly dressed for work. She just sat there casually. I blinked my eyes, adjusting a little to the golden aura around her. Then I stepped forward, holding the little fox. Miss Tham is home. Shen Yui's red lips parted slightly. You said you would come over early in the morning. I was stunned for a moment. The female CEO is wearing this at home. Could it be because I said I would come to apologize that she stayed home waiting for me? No way. Isn't a CEO's time worth millions per minute? How could she have so much free time? My focus was on coming over, but I didn't realize Shen Yui's focus was on the early morning I mentioned, i.e. I am truly sorry about last night. My fox caused you trouble last night. This is a peace talisman I carved myself. Please accept it as an apology. I handed over a blessing pouch containing a jade tablet. I carved the jade tablet myself. On the back is the inscription of an inner silver wall talisman. Considering Shen Yui's entire body radiates a golden aura, ordinary demons and evil spirits wouldn't dare approach, so she doesn't need the best evil dispelling talisman. That's why I chose this one. Especially since the jade tablet is made from fine jade containing spiritual energy, its effect is even purer. This is also to build a good relationship with the golden aura big shot first. Who knows? I might even get a chance to rub off some of that golden aura. Shen Yue took the blessing pouch, but didn't open it right away. Instead, she gestured for the butler to put it away for her. It seems she has accepted my apology. Seeing this, I couldn't help but remind her. A peace talisman is only effective if you keep it with you. Shen Yui's gesture of handing it to the butler paused slightly. She waved the butler away, and then tucked the blessing pouch into her small handbag. Only then did I smile with satisfaction. Seeing that the apology process was complete, Shen Yue didn't linger. She stood up, preparing to go out. I followed, holding the little fox. While the two of us were walking side by side, I stealthily reached out my hand and made a scooping motion in the golden aura surrounding her. The next second, two golden specks of light were clutched in my palm. I suppressed the joy in my heart. Hey, I actually managed to rub some off. What are you doing? Shen Yue spoke in a cold voice, clearly having noticed my small action just now. Caught in the act, I could only pretend to be calm and randomly find an excuse. Since you're going out, could you give me a ride? I happen to be going out as well. Shen Yui's suspicious gaze swept over my face, suddenly thinking of the peace talisman I gave her. One peace talisman serves as both an apology and a way to get a ride. One talisman, two uses. How convenient. Though she thought this, her expression didn't show it at all. She just nodded reluctantly. After getting her tacit approval, I got into the car with the little fox. Seeing Shen Yui's gaze land on the fox in my arms again, her lively eyes seemed to hold a hint of scrutiny. I hurriedly explained, after I took it home last night, I already gave it a bath. It's very clean. Shen Yue pressed her lips together. Where to? My eyes darted around for a moment, to the Song family's house. I need to go earn some extra money. Shen Yue looked at me, though a bit suspicious as to how I knew the Song family. She ultimately didn't ask much, and gestured for the driver to start the car. Not long after, the car arrived at a high-end villa complex. With Shen Yui's car leading the way, we drove straight to the Song family's villa without any obstruction. If I had come by myself, I am afraid I wouldn't have even gotten past the complex gate. Shen Yue dropped me off at the door and left directly. Meanwhile, the Song family, hearing that Shen Yui's car had arrived, came downstairs curiously to greet her, only to find an unfamiliar young man holding a little fox in his arms. This gentleman is. I thought about the Jiang family's previous attitude, so I didn't bring up the Jiang family. I only said my surname was Du, and didn't directly state that I came to restore Miss Song's intellect. They wouldn't believe it anyway. Then, from the small bag I was carrying, I took out a peace talisman. from the Fanfong Temple. I met Mrs. Song a while ago and saw her drop this, so I thought I'd bring it back to her. I previously checked young Master Song's social media account, which mentioned that he went to the Than Fong Temple with Mrs. Song last month to pray for blessings, so I used this as a convenient excuse. The madam saw my sincere appearance and didn't think much of it, so that's what it is. The old lady has the mindset of the older generation. Ever since Xiaoli hit her head and couldn't be cured, she believed it was due to bad feng shui in the house. Before, she would rearrange the furniture, and in the last year, she started believing in Taoism. A while ago, she insisted on dragging her grandson to a temple to ask for talismans. The family also indulges her. I didn't expect that a drop piece talisman would be enthusiastically returned by someone. Thank you for taking the trouble to come here. But how do you know the old lady of our family? Although Madame Song treated others kindly, she still had the necessary vigilance. My expression remained unchanged. I opened my mouth, about to explain, but my hand gently pinched the little fox belly. This was something I had discussed with the little fox beforehand. With that gesture, the little fox in my arms immediately straightened its legs, leaped out of my arms, and then ran straight up to the second floor. Madame Song was instantly startled and flustered. I also feigned being caught off guard and stood up as if to chase it. Little fox, come back quickly. But inwardly, I thought, good job, little fox, go find Miss Song. In less than 2 minutes, a girl's naive cry of surprise came from upstairs. The expressions of Madame Song and the maid both changed, and they hurried after it. I kept a distance behind Madame Song. As soon as we reached the second floor, we saw at the end of the hallway a beautiful young girl in a princess dress, squatting on the ground, giggling at the chubby little fox in front of her, which was sitting obediently. She even intended to reach out and pet it. Xiao Lier. Madame Song called out urgently, then quickly walked to her young daughter's side, pulling the girl behind her. Mom, puppy. Song Shueli looked about 15 or 16 years old, with a touch of baby fat still on her face, but it didn't hide her pretty and bright features. But the moment she opened her mouth, her innocent and childishly foolish tone clearly revealed her deficiency. I glanced over, my gaze stopping on a cluster of black chi between the girl's eyebrows, and I frowned slightly. Madame Song noticed the subtle change in my expression and thought I was reacting to her daughter's condition, immediately becoming displeased, which made her voice turn a few shades colder. If there's nothing else, Mr. Please take your pet and leave. I won't see you out. Wait. I called out to Madame Song, gestured for the little fox to come back, and my gaze towards Song Shueli became clear and serious. I took another piece talisman from my pocket. My little fox frightened Miss Song just now. As an apology, this talisman is for Miss Song. It can protect her once. I see that Miss Song's brow bone is refined, which originally indicates a fate of long-lasting fortune. This type of fate usually comes with a red mole on the chest to gather fortune. But her intellect was swapped by someone when she was young, leading to a flaw in her destiny, and the red mole faded as a result. I see that she will face a calamity in the next 2 days. You should keep her at home and not let her go out. I had originally intended to tell her directly about the intellect swap, but the black key between Song Exuela's brows was clearly more urgent than the intellect swap. Madame Song was already sensitive about her daughter's situation. Now hearing me spout a stream of nonsense, her face immediately darkened. Gone was her previous gentle and kind demeanor. She opened her mouth and scolded. Where did this quack fortune teller kid come from? Opening your mouth to curse my daughter. No wonder you knew the old lady of our family. So this was your intention, wasn't it? Now take your fox and get out of my house immediately, or else it'll break your third leg. With this attitude, it was clear we couldn't have a civil conversation. This wasn't the first time I'd encountered such a situation. My expression remained calm. I picked up the little fox, placed the protective talisman on a cabinet next to the hallway, and then turned to leave. Seeing the puppy being carried away, Song Shueli was a little reluctant to let it go, her eyes filled with a longing to follow. Puppy, Mom, the puppy is gone. Hearing her daughter's naive voice, Madame Song felt another wave of sorrow and heartache. She could only coax her. That's not a puppy. It's a fox. It will scratch people. Xiao Li likes puppies. How about Mom has someone buy one for you? Okay, Mom is the best. I want a puppy. Song Shueli immediately forgot about the little fox, so happy she felt like twirling. Madame Song looked at her beautiful daughter, her eyes welling up with tears. When she turned her head and saw the protective talisman I left on the cabinet, her face darkened again. She ordered the maid beside her in a low voice to throw it away. Something of unknown origin, she absolutely couldn't let her daughter touch it. As for what I said earlier about the red mole and the flawed destiny, she didn't believe a word of it. It was just that when she looked at Xiao Li, her gaze couldn't help but drift to the part of Song Shueli's chest hidden by her clothes. Her Xiao Li did indeed have a rather faint red mole. However, Madame Song still didn't believe in that supernatural nonsense. Instead, she suspected that the maid taking care of Xiao Li had secretly told people. The more she thought about it, the more uneasy she felt, so she hurriedly turned to call her husband and son. What Madame Song didn't know was, as soon as she left, Song Shueli from her room, secretly peeked her head out, then tiptoed, carefully sneaking out of her room and running straight downstairs. I left the Song family's villa complex not returning to the Jiang family's house, but took a taxi to the apartment I used to rent, an 80 square meter, 2-bedroom, 1 living room apartment that I had rented 2 years ago. I simply packed up a few things. Since I wanted to restore song exualis intellect, I had to make some preparations first. While I was packing, the phone next to me suddenly rang. I glanced out of the corner of my eye and saw that the caller was the abbot of Van Fong Temple. I answered the call. On the other end of the line was an old man's voice. "Young friend, Jiang, about the matter I asked you last time, have you thought it over? A visiting lecturer at the Capital Taoist Academy. Don't you want to get into Capital University? Capital University and the Taoist Academy have a partnership. Even if your score isn't high enough, you can get a special admission. In my opinion, you going to university is just a waste of time. Being a visiting lecturer at the academy for 2 years can make you an honorary consultant, which is equivalent to a master's degree." The old man chattered on, trying his best to persuade me. I didn't find it annoying. I switched the phone to my other ear and listened. Then I said, "My score should be high enough, but I still haven't decided whether to go to the capital or stay in High Thi. Before, I wanted to get into Capital University entirely because I wanted to get away from the Du family. But now that I've left the Du family, I don't want to leave High Thi anymore." Hearing that I wanted to stay in High Thi, the old man laughed heartily and said, "High Thi is great, a place of outstanding people and sacred ground. I also have some influence at High Thi University. Then it'll help you decline the Taoist Academy's offer." "Oh, right. Young friend, have you considered coming directly to my Then Fong Temple with your talent?" Seeing the old man was about to continue, I quickly and firmly refused. "I am not going. I want to go to university." The old man on the other end immediately sighed with regret, but quickly continued. "The peace talismans in the temple are all used up. Young friend, when will you send more over? The old rules still apply. 3,000 for 1 talisman. Okay, I'll send 20 over first. 20 talismans is 60,000. Donating half leaves me with 30,000. To repay the upbringing costs I owe the Du family, just selling talismans is clearly not enough. Actually, I am a talisman master. The mystic arts have 5 disciplines, which are mountain, medicine, fate, physiognomy, and divination. Talismans are one of the arts of the mountain discipline, and also the most mysterious and difficult to master in the mystic arts. Although I have dabbled in all 5 disciplines, my best and most focused skill is still talisman arts. I finished drawing 20 talismans in one go. It took no more than 15 minutes. After drawing the peace talismans for Then Fong Temple, thinking of my sister's and father's protection, I took out another raw stone of excellent quality and began carving a protective talisman. I was busy at the rental house all afternoon. It wasn't until dusk that I finished packing my things and took the little fox in a taxi back to the Jiang family's house. As soon as I entered, I saw my family sitting on the sofa, looking like they were waiting for me. Before I could open my mouth, Dad quickly called me over. "Du Fei, Dad wants to ask you something." Hearing Dad, Jiang Yu Cheng, ask, I unconsciously looked towards him. "Did you go to the Song family's house today?" My eyes flickered slightly, but quickly returned to normal. I nodded and replied, "Yes." I saw Jiang Yu Cheng's brows furrow tightly, making his face even more stern. "Didn't I tell you yesterday not to meddle in the Song family's affairs? Dad will handle the Song family's side of things." Jiang Li, seeing her father's attitude, also felt something was wrong and stepped forward to stand in front of me. "Did something happen?" The Song family called Dad, saying Du Fei went to see Madame Song this afternoon, said some strange things, and asked Dad what was going on. After saying this, Dad looked at me with a hint of anger. "Du Fei, what are you trying to do? It's one thing to talk about supernatural nonsense at home, but you actually ran over to the Song family's house. Did you not take what Dad said yesterday to heart? You're being so unreasonable. The Song family and our family still have a joint project." Dad spoke with a tone of bitter disappointment. Jiang Cheng, who was beside him, added fuel to the fire. "Look at you. How long have you been home? And you've already caused so much trouble." I just stood there, ignoring Jiang Cheng's mockery, only looking at Jiang Yu Cheng. "I didn't say I was from the Jiang family. It's as easy as flipping their hand for the Song family to investigate someone. I heard you even arrived in the Tham family's car. And also, what did you say at the Song family's house that made them so angry?" I briefly recounted the story of going to the Song family's house, including realizing that Song Shueli might be in trouble. After hearing this, everyone looked at me with even more astonishment. Going to someone's house to tell them they might be in trouble, isn't that just cursing them? Jiang Yu Cheng looked at me, his expression hardening slightly. After a moment he said, "You were reckless in this matter. Even if you really knew, you shouldn't have gone to their house and said such things so casually. Dad will explain to the Song family, but don't meddle in Miss Song's affairs anymore." I opened my mouth. Just as I was about to say something, Jiang Cheng beside me couldn't help but speak up. That's right. You're really a jinx. All you do is cause trouble since you came home. Raising a wild fox is one thing, but now you want to ruin our relationship with the Song family. You've gone too far." Hearing this, I just spoke coldly. "If this house doesn't welcome me, I'll move out right now." After saying that, I didn't want to argue with them anymore, so I called out into the house. Very quickly, the little fox scrambled back into my arms. I picked it up, then grabbed the bag I had just brought back from the rental house, turned around and left. Jiang Li ran out after me. I thought she was coming to stop me, but instead, Jiang Li ordered the butler to arrange a car to take me. You didn't do anything wrong. You've just come home. If you keep enduring everything, people will just think you're easy to bully, and they'll be even more brazen in the future. But now, by showing your attitude from the start, others will be a little more cautious. Jiang Li spoke with a hint of amusement in her voice. It turns out she saw my words about moving out as me showing my attitude, but I really was planning to move out. I opened my mouth, about to explain, but Jiang Li spoke first. I have an apartment at Dayanjiang Loan. You can stay there for 2 days. During these 2 days, I'll have a housekeeper come over to clean and cook every day. You can stay there without worry. I met Jiang Li's serious eyes, and for a moment, I didn't know what to say, so I nodded to agree. I put the little fox in the car, thought for a moment, then took out 2 blessing pouches from my backpack and handed them to her. Protective talismans I carved myself. I originally intended to give them to you and him, but given the situation just now, I can't be bothered to give it to him myself. Please pass it on for me. Hearing that I had made them myself, a glint appeared in Jiang Li's eyes. I'll keep it with me. Hearing that, I nodded and said nothing more. After the car left, I pulled a yellow talisman from my bag. I didn't expect that the fact Daim, a member of the Jiang family, would be discovered so quickly. If it were just because I went to their house and spoke nonsense, the Song family wouldn't disregard the relationship between our 2 families and come to dad. Now that the Song family's reaction is so strong, it seems that Song Shueli has already run into trouble. At this moment, in the Jiang family's villa, it was dinner time. The atmosphere in the Jiang family's house was heavy. Old Master Jiang sat in the center of the living room. Everyone was silent. Just as Old Master Jiang was about to say something, the butler suddenly walked in from outside and said to Jiang Yucheng, "President Jiang, Mr. and Mrs. Song have arrived." Jiang Yucheng frowned slightly. At this hour, for the Song family to come in person, could it be because of Du Fei's nonsense that they've chased him all the way here to question him? This is a bit too much. As he was thinking, from the main door, Mr. and Mrs. Song quickly walked in, with anxious expressions on their faces. Jiang Yucheng softened his expression and stood up to greet them. "President Song, Madam Song, Du Fei was mischievous today and caused trouble for you both. I've already disciplined him." The moment they heard him say this, Song Yangming and his wife's expressions both changed. Then came a flustered and embarrassed expression. "Director Jiang, please don't say that. It's because my wife and I didn't understand the situation. We misunderstood young Master Jiang." Young Master Jiang kindly reminded us, "It was all because we were ignorant. We know we were wrong. Please give us a chance to apologize to Grandmaster Jiang in person." The moment the Song couple finished speaking, the living room seemed to fall into a strange silence for a moment. Jiang Cheng and the others widened their eyes in disbelief, as if they doubted their own hearing. The Song couple came here, not to cause trouble for that brat. Besides, what the hell is a Grandmaster Jiang? Completely oblivious to the strange looks on everyone's faces, Song Yangming's anxiety was almost written all over his face. "Director Jiang, we really want to apologize to Grandmaster Jiang in person. Can you let us see Grandmaster Jiang?" Jiang Wucheng opened his mouth. It took him a long while to come back to his senses. He was a little stunned. "Du Fei. He's not here." Hearing this, the Song Yangming couple looked flustered. They asked repeatedly, "The Grandmaster isn't back yet. When will he be back? We can wait here for him to come back, no matter how late." Song Yangming was anxious. Seeing the Jiang family remain silent, he grew even more anxious. "Director Jiang." Just as Jiang Wucheng was about to speak, Jiang Li, who was beside him, stood up. "Xiao Fei probably won't be back today. Uncle Song and Auntie Song. If you're in a hurry, I'll contact Xiao Fei for you two. If it's convenient for him, I can take you two to see him directly. That would be great." Song Yangming had no intention of being polite at this point. "Then we'll have to trouble you." Jiang Li smiled and nodded. Then she turned aside to make a phone call. She returned very quickly. "Xiao Fei said he knows your intentions. He will head to the Song residence now. You can just meet him directly at the Song residence." Hearing that I agreed to go directly to the Song residence, the Song Yangming couple was overjoyed. They didn't even bother to say a proper goodbye to the Jiang family. They said a quick farewell and left directly. Seeing this, Jiang Li went out with them. "I'll see you two off." How could Song Yangming not understand? This was Jiang Li worrying that her brother would be at a disadvantage at the Song residence. Xuelei's situation is currently very critical. He didn't care about these things. The Song and Jiang family's villa districts were not considered close. It took more than half an hour to get back to the Song family's villa. When the 3 of them arrived, I happened to arrive at the door at the same time. Madam Song no longer had her previous polite and distant demeanor. When she saw me, her eyes were filled with enthusiasm. "Grandmaster Jiang, today's matter was my fault for being presumptuous. Thank you for still being willing to come. I am already here, which means I am here to help solve the problem. I had no intention of acting high and mighty at this time. Let's go inside first." The Song couple hurriedly led me inside. As we walked in, they didn't forget to explain today's situation. Every afternoon after her nap, Xiao Layer has to go to the children's playground in the community to walk and play. The Grandmaster clearly reminded us this morning. It's all my fault for not taking it seriously then. I still let Xiao Layer go out in the afternoon. As a result, somehow, Xiao Lair disappeared halfway through. At first, I thought it was a kidnapping, but it was only for about 10 minutes. The security guard found her by the fountain lake. As a result, not long after Xiao Lair came home, she suddenly fainted, and no matter how we called her, she wouldn't wake up. The family doctor couldn't find any cause after examining her. Madame Song paused here. Her voice couldn't hide her anxiety and grief. She looked at me again. After that, the doctor had no other choice, and was preparing to take Xiao Lair to the hospital for a more thorough examination. As a result, when they picked her up, they found something had fallen from her. It was that very thing that made Madame Song think of me again. It was the protective talisman I had left behind. At that time, Madame Song had already had someone throw it away, but unexpectedly, Xiao Lair found it interesting and secretly picked it up and hid it on her person. As a result, that thing fell from her. At first, the Song family didn't know what it was, because it had turned into a piece of black ash. The strange thing was, it had clearly burned to black ash, but it still maintained its original shape. Then, Butler Chow reminded her that it was the protective talisman I left before I left. Because my protective talismans all have a special folding method, it wasn't hard to recognize. Madame Song had someone check Xiao Lair's body and found that she had no signs of being burned. Only that protective talisman had turned into black ash. Madame Song is a highly educated person. She believes in materialism and has never believed in ghosts and gods. She didn't understand this matter at all. However, old Madame Song recently started believing in Taoism and understood some of the sayings. She guessed that the yellow paper turning to ash was because it had blocked evil spirits, but Xiao Lair was still in a coma, which proved that the evil spirits were still there. Old Madame Song said they should invite a Grand Master. It was only then that Madame Song thought of me again. That's why she came to apologize in person. I could see the Song family's concern for Song Shualei. I spoke to comfort them. Don't worry. I've said it before. Miss Song has a fate of long-lasting fortune. Even if there is some loss now, her life will still be preserved. While we were talking, we had gone up to the room on the second floor. Opening the door to the room, we were met with a burst of flame, rushing straight towards our faces. Everyone was startled, but I calmly raised my hand and waved. The rushing flame immediately vanished without a trace. Before they could be amazed by my previous action, they had already gotten a clear view of the situation in the room. In Song Shuali's room, an altar had been set up at some point. In front of the altar was a middle-aged man in a Taoist robe. He was holding a peach wood sword in his hand and muttering something under his breath. Occasionally, he would swing his sword and slash at the air. The flame that appeared when they first entered was the effect of his spell. The veins on Song Yongming's forehead couldn't help but twitch. He shifted his gaze to another old woman in the room and spoke with a hint of helplessness. "Mom, what is this about?" Old Madame Song hurriedly stepped forward to explain. "Didn't they say Liar encountered something unclean? I had someone invite a Grand Master I know. Don't worry." The Grand Master said, "It's nothing serious. She'll wake up after he finishes the ritual. She might even become a little smarter." Hearing this, Madame Song's expression turned a little ugly. "Mom, didn't I say that Yongming and I were going to invite a Grand Master? One task shouldn't trouble two masters." Even though Madame Song didn't understand the rules of the metaphysical world, she knew it wasn't good to invite two parties at the same time. But old Madame Song showed her disapproval. "What's wrong with finding a few more people to take a look? I am only worried because I see how you two spoil that child." After saying that, old Madame Song looked at me. Her brows furrowed slightly. "Is this the Grand Master you found? Why is he such a snot-nosed brat?" Her voice was filled with disdain for me. I raised an eyebrow slightly. "Is there age discrimination in this line of work too?" But the more old Madame Song looked at me, the more suspicious she became. "So young, what can he possibly do?" "Yue Hua, you haven't been tricked again, have you?" Madame Song hurriedly explained. "Mom, although Grandmaster Jiang is young, he is a person of true ability." "Mom, don't speak carelessly. You might offend him." Old Madame Song pouted, wanting to dampen my spirits. "You say you have real skills, then you have to show them. It doesn't have to be much. At least you should brandish a sword like the Grand Master." "Mom," Madame Song was really a little angry now, afraid that the old lady's attitude would anger me. She quickly turned her head and said to me, "Grandmaster Jiang, I am truly sorry. Please don't mind her." But I didn't mind at all. I nodded at Madame Song and walked to the bedside on my own. I could see from the moment I entered that Song Sualei was still lying on the bed. Despite the noise and chaos in the room, she showed no signs of waking up. That Grandmaster saw me walk to the bedside and suddenly shouted, "Don't come any closer. You'll interrupt my ritual if you do that." Hearing this, I glanced over slightly, just a quick glance, and then turned my head away. I picked up Song Shulei's finger to examine it closely. That Grand Master saw that I completely ignored his warning. He immediately showed an angry expression and suddenly stopped the ritual. He turned to old Madame Song. "What's wrong with you people? Didn't I already say, don't let anyone disturb me during the ritual?" "Master Lu, I am truly sorry. Tell them to leave right now." After saying that, old Madame Song turned and glared at me. Just as she was about to tell me to leave, she saw that I had already put down Song Shulei's hand. I turned my head to look at Master Lu, my clear eyes devoid of any emotion. Master Lu set up an altar for a ritual. "You must have already determined what's wrong with Miss Song, right?" That Master Lu saw me asking for his guidance and just snorted coldly. Miss Song has provoked a mischievous ghost. I was just helping her exorcise that ghost, but you refused to listen to my advice and interrupted my spell casting. That ghost took advantage of the chaos just now and escaped. What he meant was that the ritual had failed, and Miss Song couldn't wake up, all because of me, and had nothing to do with him. I scoffed, looking at Master Lu, with eyes that looked at a fraud. If you had even a little bit of spiritual sense, you would know there are no yin or evil entities in this room. Miss Song is in a coma not because she was disturbed by a mischievous ghost, but because someone used dark arts to steal her fate. Hearing my words, the faces of the Song Yongming couple beside me changed. They hurriedly stepped forward. Grand Master Jiang, what dark arts are you talking about? Is someone after my Xiao Layer's life? I looked at the two of them and said unhurriedly, it's not about taking her life. In the metaphysical world, it's called borrowing fate. I've said it before. Miss Song has a fate of great fortune. Her fate has decreed that she would originally have no disasters in her life and a smooth life. It is precisely because of this that someone has targeted her fate, wanting to borrow her lifespan to extend their own. With that, I took Song Shualei's hand and gestured for the two of them to look at the red mark on her thumb. This cinnabar mark on her finger is from someone tricking her into giving a thumbprint, thereby implicitly agreeing to let the other party borrow her fate. As for when she gave the thumbprint, it was probably during the time Madame Song said she was missing for about 10 minutes. Hearing this, the Song Yongming couple leaned in to take a closer look, and indeed saw the red mark on Song Shualei's fingertip. That red mark had clearly been wiped away. If you didn't look closely, you wouldn't have noticed it, Grand Master. So, has my daughter's fate been borrowed? Can it be taken back? I nodded. Yes. Master Lu, who was standing by, saw that with just a few words, I had won the full trust of the host. He was dissatisfied and wanted to say a few disparaging words. When Jiang Li shouted, shut up, say one more word, and ill, have you carried out of the Song house horizontally? Master Lu only felt his heart skip a beat. For a moment, he forgot how to speak. It was at this exact moment that I took out a pen from my backpack, a cinnabar stick, and a piece of jade pendant. The red cinnabar pen drew a stroke on the jade pendant. I gently placed the jade pendant on the center of Song Shualei's forehead. Then I took out a few more pieces of yellow paper, thinking about how old Madame Song told me to show my real skills. I thought for a moment, although I don't know how to dance like Master Lu, but when it comes to scaring people, I can do it too. Thinking this, I suddenly took a step back. My handsome face suddenly became expressionless. The aura around my whole body changed abruptly, focused and attentive. I gently raised my hand and pressed my palms together. When my palms opened, the 5 yellow talismans that were originally clamped between my palms seemed to be suddenly pulled by an invisible force, standing upright in my palm, neatly in a row. But this move made several people in the room, including Master Lu, their pupils suddenly widened. Then they heard me lightly part my lips. My voice was as clear as a stream, but it carried a cold authority. The way of heaven is clear. The way of earth is peaceful. Mix the heavens and earth. All gods return to their fate. I obey the command. Break. Along with my final word, break. I then pushed my palms outward. The yellow talismans that were standing upright in the air immediately flew straight towards Song Shualei on the bed with a whoosh, as if invisible threads were pulling them. The 5 yellow talismans whizzed over to 5 positions on Song Shualei's body and stuck firmly. The moment the yellow talismans stuck to Song Shualei's body, everyone saw the yellow talisman seem to burn. Wisps of black smoke rose from the center. With a crack, the jade pendant that was placed on Song Shualei's forehead directly broke into 2 pieces. At the same time, in a small shop not far from the Song residence, a middle-aged man was looking at the huge sum of money that had just been transferred to his phone with a delighted expression. The next second, he suddenly spat out a large mouthful of blood without any warning. Then his whole body fell straight to the ground. Immediately after, screams rang out, the shop fell into chaos, and in the Song family's villa, everyone was as quiet as a mouse. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Old Madame Song watched so intently she almost forgot to breathe. Coming to her senses, she couldn't believe it and carefully raised her hand to feel the space above the jade pendant and talisman paper, wanting to confirm whether there was any hidden mechanism. Mom, seeing the old lad's action, Song Yongming was a little dissatisfied. Master Lu on the other side seemed to be reminded. He suddenly came to his senses and shouted, this is just a sleight of hand. Old Madame Song, don't be fooled. When you're out swindling people, everyone has their own little tricks. Even the fire snake he just made was something he had practiced privately. He didn't believe a brat like me had any real ability. If he really was some grand master, he would do a handstand and eat crap today. As Master Lu was thinking this, he saw the faces of the Song family standing by the bed suddenly change. Even old Madame Song, who had just reached out to probe, widened her eyes as well. Master Lu's heart inexplicably skipped a beat. Looking closely, the young Miss Song, who had been unconscious, had opened her eyes. Awake? She's awake. Xiao liar. Madame Song was the first to cry out. Her voice had lost its usual elegance and carried a distinct sob. When Song Shuilei opened her eyes, her face still had the groggy look of someone who just woke up. Mom. Dad. Grandma is here too. The little girl clearly didn't understand. She just took a nap. Why her mom, dad, and even her grandma were all gathered around her bed. Looking around the room again, Xiao Leier's eyes widened. There were so many people in the room. Her beautiful big eyes swept around and suddenly stopped on me. Xiao Leier blinked, a little delighted. It's puppy brother. The people in the room were stunned, all with confused expressions. Only Madame Song looked embarrassed. Xiao Leier, don't call him that. This is your brother Xiao Fei. Xiao Leier giggled innocently. Song Yongming saw that his daughter was still the same as before. His initially tense expression immediately relaxed. Grandmaster Jiang, is Xiao Leier all right now? I shook my head and slowly explained. I just forcibly broke the other party's fate-borrowing spell. The spellcaster on the other side has suffered a backlash. It's true that they can no longer act against Miss Song, but the other party tricked Miss Song into signing a fate-borrowing contract. We still need to find a way to find and burn that fate-borrowing contract. Otherwise, if the other party finds another spellcaster, they can still use the contract to cast the fate-borrowing spell again at any time. Hearing that the other party would still act against Xiao Leier, Song Yongming's expression turned serious upon hearing this. I've had people investigate Xiao Leier's surveillance footage from the time she went missing, but we couldn't find anything. We can continue to have people investigate, but I am worried we won't find anything in time. The other party may have already found another spellcaster, one step ahead of us, and borrowed Xiao Leier's lifespan again. Song Yongming immediately begged Grandmaster Jiang, is there any other way to find this mastermind who harms people? Rest assured, as long as you can save my daughter, you can name your price. I thought for a moment, it's not impossible. With that, I fumbled in my pocket and found another white rabbit milk candy. I handed the white rabbit milk candy to Song Shuele on the bed. Seeing her eyes clearly light up, I immediately smiled and used a rarely seen gentle tone to coax her. Xiao Leier, want to play a game with me? I'll give you candy. Song Shuele saw that her mother didn't object and immediately beamed, taking the candy. Then she nodded vigorously at me with a happy face. I smiled faintly and took out a thin red string from my pocket. I tied one end of the red string to the thumb that Xiao Leier used to sign the contract. Then I took out the small cinnabar pen again and quickly drew on Xiao Leier's thumb a tiny talismanic script everyone only saw. The moment I lifted the pen, the script on Song Xuelei's thumb seemed to flash with a golden light, which then passed through the red string on her hand. The next second, they saw that short red string being pulled by something, and it straightened out in one direction. Everyone in the room widened their eyes once again. Xiao Leier's eyes grew even wider. Then she exclaimed in surprise, "Wow, I have magic now." The corners of my mouth curled up slightly as I gestured to her. Then, Xiao Leier, get up now, and follow the direction the red string is pointing. The magic will lead you to a surprise. Xiao Leier's eyes immediately lit up again. She didn't care about anything else, and eagerly prepared to set off. The Song Yongming couple beside her immediately followed. At the same time, they ordered all the bodyguards on standby to follow along. To find the person who dared to harm their Xiao Leier, he must make that person pay the price. The whole group went downstairs just like that. Because he didn't know where to find them, Song Yongming directly ordered someone to prepare the cars. Seeing this, I quickly said, no need to prepare the cars. Just a small car to get around is enough. The usual life borrowing technique usually involves putting one's hair into a red envelope with money and then scattering it on the road. As long as someone picks it up and spends it, their lifespan will be unconsciously borrowed. This is like casting a wide net. But this method of borrowing life usually can't borrow much. The person whose life is borrowed won't even realize it. But Miss Song was clearly specifically chosen, and they even used a contract method like this, which shows the person must know Xiao Linger. As soon as I finished speaking, Madame Song sucked in a cold breath. Next second, the rims of her eyes immediately turned red. Who on earth has such a deep grudge against my family's Linger? They won't even spare a foolish child. Song Yongming stood beside her, his usually gentle face also revealing a cold, gloomy expression. In that moment, he mentally reviewed all the enemies his family had offended. I saw Song Yongming's expression and reminded him again. Miss Song was missing for about 10 minutes, so we can basically confirm that the other party acted within the villa complex. That person probably lives in this neighborhood too. This time, the scope has been narrowed down to a minimum, but Song Yongming found it difficult. They had lived in this villa complex for 5 or 6 years. Since it was a high-end residential area, the number of households in the area wasn't large. He had basically met them all, but it seemed there was no one the Song family had offended. While he was thinking, he saw at the main gate a fleet of patrol cars stopped in front of the Song family's villa. A person got out of the first car and walked straight towards them. Before anything happened to Xiao Linger, I already checked the potentially suspicious households in the area. It's probably not someone with a grudge against the Song family. The man's voice was gentle but tinged with a bit of coldness. The speaker was Song Shuli's older brother, Song Yuli. After the incident with Xiao Leier, Song Yuli had been busy outside. Knowing his parents had invited a master, although he didn't have much hope, he always kept in touch with his family. Therefore, he also learned about the whole incident. Seeing that Xiao Leier was fine, Song Yuli's expression clearly softened a bit. He also knew the matter wasn't over, so he told everyone to get in the cars. The convoy of cars drove aggressively through the villa complex, very quickly. Following the red thread's guidance, everyone finally stopped in front of a 4-story villa. The moment she saw that place, Madame Song almost couldn't believe it. How could it be this place? Seeing that Madame Song indeed knew them, I tilted my head and looked at her. Madame Song immediately gritted her teeth and said, "This is the P family's house. Originally, our two families didn't have much interaction, but the Pei family's son is the only child recently who was willing to play with Xiao Lier. After all, Xiao Lier has the appearance of an adult. The other children all mocked her for being foolish and wouldn't play with her, but the P family's boy never seemed to mind. He even took the initiative several times to come to our house to ask Xiao Lier out to play. Madame Song could never have imagined that it was this very family who wanted Xiao Lier's life. How could it not be heartbreaking? Has someone in the Pei family, an elderly person or someone else, been sick recently, the kind that's about to die? Old Madame Pei has always been in good health, but the child who played with Xiao Lier was said to have been hospitalized a few days ago for some illness. Hearing that, I understood everything. The PA family must be borrowing life for that child. The Song family also realized what was happening. Without any hesitation, they went straight up to knock on the PI family's door. It was already late. The Song family brought a large, aggressive crowd, and Madame Pei couldn't help but ask when she saw them, "Yue, Hua, what is all this? Why did you bring so many people?" Madame Song immediately sneered. "You don't know. You hired someone to harm my Xiao Li, wanting to borrow my Xiao Li's life to extend your house. Did you really think no one would find out?" When Madame Pei heard this, a flash of panic appeared in her eyes, but she quickly concealed it, pretending to be confused and angry. "What are you talking about? I don't understand what you're saying. What life borrowing? How could I possibly harm your Xiao Linger? How can you believe such baseless rumors and bring people to my house like this? This is outrageous." Madame Song saw the change in her expression just now and couldn't be bothered to waste words with her anymore. "Xiao Linger, let's go inside and look." Xiao Linger was no stranger to the PA family's house. Hearing her mother say to go in, she immediately raised her hands excitedly, wanting to go inside. It was then that Madame Pei also saw the strange, upright red thread on Xiao Linger's hand. Thought of something, her expression changed instantly, and she screamed, "What are you doing? Are you trying to illegally break into my house? We are breaking in today." As Madame Song spoke, she raised her hand, and the well-trained Song family bodyguards moved forward, directly blocking the other people in the house. A few of us immediately followed the red thread and quickly went inside, directly finding a room on the second floor. Opening a drawer, I indeed saw a life-borrowing contract, written on red paper, hidden in the room. I immediately took it and left. Madame Pei was blocked downstairs, anxiously making a phone call. Seeing Madame Song's group come down and holding something in their hands, her expression changed drastically. She didn't expect that we could actually find this thing. She immediately screamed, intending to rush over and snatch it. "Give that back to me." How could Song Yu Li let her get close? He immediately rushed forward to block her, pulled and pushed her with his hands, and sent Madame Pei tumbling to the ground. Madame Song was also afraid it would be snatched back, so she turned and went into the kitchen, turned on the gas stove, and burned the life-borrowing contract. Seeing her action, Madame Pei's eyes looked like they were about to pop out of their sockets. She no longer cared about her image, crying and screaming as she tried to rush over and stop it again. But the item had already started to burn. Madame Song threw the half-burned life-borrowing contract into the sink and then turned around. Just as Madame Pei rushed in front of her, she swung her hand and slapped the other woman hard across the face. A crisp slap echoed, and before Madame Pei could react, she was slapped across the face. Madame Song didn't stop there. She reached out and grabbed the other woman's hair and slapped her twice more. "That's for plotting against my daughter. That's for using dark arts to harm people. What did my Linger ever do to you, for you to harm her like this? She's still just a child." Sob. Madame Song cried as she grabbed Madame Pei's hair and hit her, completely disregarding her upbringing and her high society status, looking just like a shrew. "You dare touch my child? I'll show you what a shrew from a prestigious family is like." Just then, old Madame Pi and CEO Pi rushed back. The moment they entered and saw this scene, they were furious. "What are you Song family people doing? Call the police." "I want to call the police." Song Yongming hadn't found it appropriate to attack a woman earlier, but now seeing CEO Pei, he immediately sneered and stepped forward. "Go ahead and call the police. At most, I'll just compensate you with some money. But for your P family using dark arts to harm my daughter, our Song family will use every connection we have from now on to make your PA family pay the price." Hearing Song Yongming speak so confidently about dark arts, Pei Guodong's heart skipped a beat. He subconsciously looked at his wife and saw her sobbing while holding her face, which was swollen like a pig's head. They burned the life-borrowing contract. Sob. My how. Hearing that the Song family had not only found out the truth, but also found and burned the life-borrowing contract, Pei Guodong instantly collapsed. Old Madame Pei beside him widened her eyes even more, looking as if the sky was falling. First, she scolded Madame Pei. "Useless thing. You can't even look after one item." Then she started wailing miserably. "How could you burn my Hao's life contract? That's my Hao's life. Your Song family is so vicious." Song Yongming was so angry that even his facial muscles twitched. Just as he was about to say something, he saw old Madame Song appear out of nowhere. "I spit on you. It's clearly your family that plotted against my granddaughter, yet you have the nerve to turn around and call us vicious. You old hag. Your heart is the one that's truly black. Old Madame Pei stuck out her neck, with not a hint of remorse on her face. Your granddaughter is a fool anyway. What's the use of a fool living? It's better to give all her lifespan to my precious grandson. My precious grandson is so intelligent. Why? Can't he live long, all of a sudden? Madame Pei also ran over, but to beg Song Yu Li, Xiao Li Auntie has no other choice. Your brother Hao is sick. He has to live on. For the sake of him being willing to play with you before, can you help him? Auntie doesn't need much. 50 years will be enough. Hearing the shameless words of this mother-in-law and daughter-in-law pair, Madame Song almost went crazy with anger. Fortunately, the life-borrowing contract had been burned, and the Song family didn't want to stay any longer. To look at the disgusting faces of the P family, the Song family's bodyguards immediately escorted everyone away. It's just that before leaving, I deliberately walked at the back, turned my head to look at the PA family's resentful faces filled with hatred, and smiled faintly. Using dark arts to harm others, the caster cannot escape the backlash. As the masterminds, you can't escape either. For the next 3 years, the Pei family will have no luck at all and will be plagued by misfortune. After saying that, I didn't care about the PA family's ugly expressions and added on my own. This is a gift. No extra charge. Jiang Li was standing right beside me and watching me seriously add that last sentence. She found it amusing. This little brother of hers seemed to truly have some skills. And what's more, he seemed to like making money. Jiang Li immediately felt at ease. The Jiang family lacks nothing but money. After that, the whole group aggressively returned to the Song family's house. As soon as they entered, Xiao Li seemed to have lost all her spirit, limply leaning against Madame Song, and whimpered softly, "Mommy, Xiao Li is hungry." Seeing that Xiao Li wasn't well, Madame Song immediately became worried again. "Master Jiang, is something wrong with Xiao Li? Don't worry, it's just a small side effect from having her life stolen. It's nothing to worry about. Just replenish her energy and let her get more sun during the day." Hearing that it was nothing serious, everyone in the Song family immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Now, when it came to my words, they believed me without a doubt. Master Jiang said it's fine, so it must be fine. Just as Madame Song was about to show a relieved smile, I spoke again. She needs to recover her spirit these next 2 days. In 2 days, I will come back to help her get back her lost intellect. I said it casually, but it stunned the entire Song family, as if they couldn't believe what they had just heard. Master Jiang, what do you mean by getting back her intellect? Could it be that my Xiao Linger, Song Yongming, a businessman who dominated the corporate world, was now so anxious that he was stuttering? I glanced at the equally astonished Madame Song beside him and blinked. I remember telling Madame Song before, Miss Song was originally destined for a long and fortunate life. It was because someone swapped it away for a cure when she was young that she became like this. That's also why her destiny was changed. I patiently explained it again to the Song father and son. Actually, I came here before to get Miss Song's intellect back. Yes, Master Jiang did say that. I forgot at that time. As she spoke, Madame Song's eyes reddened, her expression agitated. Master Jiang, does that mean as long as we get that intellect back, my Xiao Li can be like a normal person? That's right, thank you. Master Jiang, thank you so much. Madame Song was so moved she was sobbing incoherently. The corner of my mouth lifted slightly. After the Song family calmed down, I suggested leaving. After all the commotion tonight, it was indeed getting late. Song Yongming calmed down, finally regaining his calm and steady demeanor. He then asked about today's payment. Speaking of payment, I stood up a little straighter. I am finally getting paid. Normally, I charge 30,000 for one job, but considering the effort spent to break the life-borrowing spell, and also the jade pendant that cracked while blocking the spell, I thought for a moment, then seriously held up 3 fingers towards Song Yongming, meaning I wanted 300,000. 3 million is not a problem. Song Yongming nodded without hesitation. He took out his phone and transferred the money to me directly. I was stunned for a moment, and by the time I reacted, my phone had already notified me of a 3 million transfer. Looking at the string of zeros on my phone screen, I couldn't believe it. I quietly swallowed. When I looked up, my face was calm. In 3 days, I will come back to get Miss Song's intellect back. On the outside, I appeared calm and indifferent, but inside, my little tail was wagging high. 3 million. I am rich. Taking the initiative was indeed the right move. I really hope for more orders like this. This way, the cost of being raised by the Du family will be gathered quickly. Thinking about how I would soon be able to completely sever all ties with the Du family in every aspect, my steps felt much lighter as I walked out the door. Jiang Li, who was beside me, suddenly spoke up. Xiaofei, I am sorry. Even though I saw you save Wu Xiao before, I didn't fully believe you could solve the Song family's matter. So when Dad didn't let you interfere in the Song family's business, I didn't speak up for you. For that, I apologize to you. But now I am sure you are truly amazing. Hearing Jiang Li actively apologize and praise me, a hint of smugness still flashed across my face, and Jiang Li, thinking of the 300,000 she gave me yesterday, immediately felt it was too little. So after taking me back to the apartment, she transferred another 3 million to me. I had just transferred 1.5 million and was about to put my phone down when my phone notified me of another 3 million transfer. I was completely dumbfounded. How did the money I just sent fly back? Doubled. Could it be that Master secretly sent the 5 ghosts of wealth to me? Looking closer, I saw it was from Jiang Li. So generous. It seems I am still earning too little. The next day, old Master Jiang ordered Jiang Yucheng to bring me back to the Jiang family home. After Jiang Yucheng's sincere apology, I agreed to return to the Jiang family home and attend the party tonight. My adoptive mother's family used tricks to get an invitation to the Jiang family's party. Tonight's party became extremely lively. After seeing me appear in all my splendor, the entire Du family was astonished. That feeling of unexpected failure, but one that was also predictable, made Du Zidang's eyes red with jealousy. This high-end custom-made suit alone immediately attracted everyone's attention. Just then, my sharp gaze fell upon him. It wasn't that I saw the Du family at first glance, but rather, I unconsciously noticed the direction in the crowd where a black aura was swirling. I was wondering if trouble had come knocking on my door again, but when I looked closer, it was an acquaintance. After not seeing him for 2 days, the originally faint gray shadow behind Du Zidang had now turned black. Before, that gray shadow just stuck close to his back, but now it was in a state of half enveloping him. I don't know what the hell Du Zidang did to attract that thing. My lightly smiling eyes turned a little cold. Jiang Yucheng and Jiang Li were standing beside me, and seeing the subtle change in my gaze, they unconsciously followed my line of sight and saw the 3 members of the Du family. They immediately frowned inwardly. Beside them, old Master Jiang was already smiling and formally introducing me to the guests. Du Baocheng never expected that I would be the long-lost son of the Jiang family. At this moment, he was almost seeing red with anger and finally understood why the collaboration with the Jiang High Group was cancelled. Thinking of this, Du Baocheng glared at his wife beside him. Bai Shuqin was startled by his glare and subconsciously stepped aside, looking somewhat innocent. At this moment, Du Baocheng's chest was heaving violently. The next second, he suddenly seemed to think of something, directly pulled Bai Shuqin's hand, quickly moved through the crowd, and went straight to the front, speaking with a smile on his face. Xiao Fei, Dad is relieved to see that you're okay. Since you left, your mother and I have been missing you. After speaking, he paused under the somewhat suspicious gazes of the crowd, then slapped his head, and smiled at old Master Jiang with a bit of regret. Look at me, I am so used to saying it. I should change how I address her now. Not mother, I should call her adoptive mother. Du Baocheng's one sentence directly clarified the relationship between him and me. The surrounding guests heard it loud and clear. Du Baocheng knew he had achieved his goal and was secretly pleased. But old Master Jiang's expression didn't change, a smile still on his face. So you are Xiao Fei's adoptive parents. Thank you both for taking care of him all these years. Since the Du family raised Xiao Fei, you are considered honored guests of our family. Eldest, take them upstairs and entertain them properly. Don't be disrespectful. Jiang Yucheng had long wanted to get rid of the Du family, so he stepped forward upon receiving the order. Du Baocheng quickly spoke up. Speaking of which, the Du Corporation had just confirmed a collaboration with the Jiang High Group. I know old Master Jiang must be doing this for Du Fei's sake, wanting to help us out. I came here today to express my gratitude. When our 2 families discuss cooperation, if any subordinates have done anything wrong, I hope the Jiang High Group can be understanding. Jiang Yucheng knew Du Baocheng's intentions clearly. It was just to use today's occasion to completely tie the Du family and the Jiang family together. Jiang Yucheng would not tolerate this bad habit. He immediately said in a deep voice, CEO Du must be joking. The cooperation between the Jiang High Group and the Du Corporation was cancelled long ago. As for the reason why, I think Madame Du and your son know the inside story well. CEO Jiang, there must be some misunderstanding in this matter. I am truly very sincere, looking forward to cooperating with the Jiang High Group. After saying that, he looked towards me, who hadn't said a word. Xiao Fei, you should say a few words for Dad, too. Seeing this, Bai Shuqin, who was standing beside him, couldn't help but speak up. Du Fei, it wasn't easy for our family to raise you. You should say something. These couple of sentences were completely pushing me into the fire. Du Ziding had been waiting for this moment for a long time. He immediately added fuel to the fire. Brother, Mom and Dad have always treated you like their own son. You can't just be ungrateful now that you've found your biological father. The 3 members of the Du family each said a line. Whispers began to spread around. Some people couldn't even hold back from criticizing out loud. Jiang Wucheng's expression turned ugly. He was just about to open his mouth to refute them when I pulled his arm back. I just gave a cold glance at the people who had just criticized me. Then I turned to the 3 members of the Du family. Without a word, I started rolling up my right sleeve. I looked at Bai Shuqin and said in a cold voice, when I was 7 years old, Du Ziding accidentally fell into the water. Mrs. Du rushed to the scene. Seeing me standing safely on the bank, she pushed me into the water. Because her son had suffered, I had to suffer a part of it too. This scar is from when you pushed me into the water and my arm was cut by the rocks on the bank. You probably still remember this. Hearing these words, the gazes of the Jiang family shot straight towards Bai Shuqin. A flicker appeared in Bai Shuqin's eyes, but she still tried to act calm. That was because you accidentally fell in. How can you say I pushed you? I continued speaking. When I was 10, Du Ziding was injured and had to be hospitalized. He needed a blood transfusion. The hospital clearly had enough blood in stock, but you pulled the nurse aside and insisted that she take my blood to transfuse into Du Ziding. You said that because we were brothers, he would recover faster using my blood. The guests all looked incredulous. What kind of bizarre logic was that? Even elementary school students know that for a blood transfusion, all you need is a matching blood type. Could it be that Mrs. Du has a problem with common sense? When I was young, I didn't understand why. Every time Du Ziding had bad luck, you would make me go through similar misfortune or demand that I stay by his side to take care of him. Later, I found out it's because Du Ziding was born with a weak fate, naturally attracting calamities. You raised me simply because you targeted my fate, wanting to use my fate to block calamities for Du Ziding. When Bai Shuqin and Du Baocheng heard me say the two words block calamities, both of their expressions changed abruptly. They reflexively wanted to ask how I knew, but just as their lips moved, and they were about to speak, they suddenly realized what occasion this was, and quickly changed their expressions again. Du Fei, where did you hear such things? You actually believe such superstitious words? After saying that, she put on a sorrowful expression. I understand that you don't want to acknowledge us, but you don't need to make up such a ridiculous reason. It truly breaks my heart. I looked at Bai Shuqin, my gaze turning a little colder. I knew that if there wasn't a definitive conclusion today, the Du family would continue to harass me in the future. A thought stirred in my mind. I was about to act when I heard a loud voice from the doorway. I believe young Master Jiang. Everyone turned their heads. The arrivals were none other than Song Yongming and his wife. The two were seen holding expensive gift boxes in their hands, walking through the crowd straight to my side. Song Yongming even glared directly at Bai Shuqin. Young Master Jiang is definitely not the kind of person who climbs the social ladder and forgets their roots, as you claim. He said that you, the Du family, adopted him to change his fate. Then you must have done it. Since you've done it, don't stand here being hypocritical and saying such things. Do you take everyone present here for a fool? Bai Shuqin's act was interrupted by the sudden appearance of Song Yongming and his wife. She was displeased and wanted to continue arguing. I had already noticed her movements. Without waiting for her to speak, my fingers, hanging loosely by my side, suddenly and quickly drew a truth talisman in the air. Then, with a sweep of my palm, that truth talisman silently struck Bai Shuqin. Next, Bai Shuqin, completely unaware, opened her mouth and what came out was, "So what if I did it? My Ziding's fate isn't good. The master said I had to find someone with a good fate to block calamities for Ziding in order to change his fate. Du Fei has a good fate. What's wrong with me using his fate to stabilize my Zidings?" As soon as these words were spoken, the guests present, including Du Baocheng standing beside her, suddenly changed their expressions. Du Ziding couldn't help but call out, "Mom." Bai Shuqin also realized what she had said. She hurriedly covered her mouth with her hand, but in the next second, those words seemed to pour out uncontrollably. "Don't think you're so great now that you've become the young master of the Jiang family. In my house, you were just a tool to transfer fate to Ziding." The master said it. "As long as my Ziding continuously absorbs your good fortune, once he passes 18, your two fates will be completely swapped. Otherwise, do you think I would have let you leave so easily? To find your biological parents? What did you say?" Hearing this, Jiang Wucheng immediately turned ice cold. This Du family is truly too outrageous. At this point, Du Baocheng also realized something was wrong. He hurried forward, wanting to pull Bai Shuqin away. His face was terrifyingly gloomy, but his mouth said, "Shuqin, is your illness acting up again? Saying all this nonsense again?" Then he apologized to everyone. "My wife has a mild mental disorder. She's prone to episodes when her emotions fluctuate too much. I'll take her home first today." In just a few sentences, Du Baocheng had framed Bai Shuqin's unusual confession as a mental disorder. With that, he intended to lead her away. But unexpectedly, as soon as he moved, the Jiang family members stepped forward in unison, blocking their path. Zhang Li sneered coldly. "Director Du, what's the hurry to leave? You look so guilty." She already knew my capabilities. The moment she noticed something was wrong with Bai Shuqin, she guessed that I was probably the one who had secretly acted. Naturally, she wouldn't let such an opportunity go. Today, the Jiang family had to cooperate with me to completely tear off the hypocritical mask of the Du family. I was well aware of the power of the truth talisman I had drawn. Seeing that Jiang Li and the others had blocked them, I began to question Bai Shuqin. "Mrs. Du, do you really have a mental disorder?" "Of course not." Bai Shuqin answered me without thinking. She looked like she was about to cry, but the words coming from her mouth were still extremely honest. "My husband just doesn't want me to tell the truth. He's that kind of person. Sometimes he's so timid and fearful when doing things, not as decisive as us women." As soon as she finished speaking, Jiang Wucheng, with a face unable to contain his anger, stepped forward and questioned coldly, "What else did you do to Xiao Fei?" "What could I do to him? He never understood his place. He's been a troublesome child since he was young. He even dared to fight with Zidane over toys when they were little. At that time, I locked him in the attic and starved him for 2 days. He came out obedient and well-behaved right away." The Jiang family's faces turned extremely ugly upon hearing this. The surrounding guests showed even more sympathy. Towards the surrounding gazes, I remained unmoved. I continued to ask her, "So what did you come here to do today?" "Of course, to demand benefits. We raised you this big. Now that you are the young master of the Jiang family, you can't not repay us. The Jiang family's fortune is so large, giving us half to thank us. Wouldn't be too much for the Du family, would it?" As soon as she finished speaking, the guests present immediately gasped in cold air. This Du family's appetite is just too big, demanding half of the Jiang family's assets right off the bat. Aren't they afraid of choking to death from greed? The father and son duo, Du Baocheng, beside her, almost coughed up blood. They had no idea why Bai Shukin had suddenly gone mad. Du Zideng was still trying to explain. "It's not like that. My mother is talking nonsense. We didn't treat him like that." Just then, a clear, cold voice rang out. "Congratulations, young Master Jiang. I've arrived late." It was Shen Yue. Although it was just a few short words, her one sentence, "Young Master Jiang," was a public acknowledgement of my status as the young master of the Jiang family. Shen Yue represents the #1 financial conglomerate, the Shen family. The moment she expressed her stance, after tonight, the entire high society circle would have to acknowledge my identity. I looked at the female CEO, who was glittering with a golden light, and just smiled faintly. Not late. Miss Shen arrived at just the right time. After speaking, I turned back to Du Baocheng beside me. "The Du family raised me for 18 years. Scrupulously calculated, it's no more than 5 million. Before this, I already transferred 5 million for my upbringing expenses to your card." Du Baocheng's eyes turned cold, but the guests beside them were in disbelief. 5 million to raise a child. In an ordinary family, it might be acceptable, but in the eyes of their group of people, 5 million was truly too little. It showed how badly they had treated him all these years. For a moment, their gazes towards Du Baocheng held even more contempt. I continued to speak. "Furthermore, I have died once for Du Zideng. The debt of raising me has been paid. From now on, I don't owe the Du family a single cent." Du Baocheng's pupils contracted sharply. His facial muscles twitched slightly, and he could no longer maintain his facade. Jiang Wucheng also spoke up in a cold voice. "From today onwards, my Jiang family's son has no relationship whatsoever with the Du family. Out of consideration for you having raised Xiao Fei, the Jiang family will not do anything to the Du family. But if the Du family dares to use the Jiang family's name to show off outside in the future, then don't blame the Jiang family for taking action." After speaking, he coldly ordered the butler to see the guests out. Du Baocheng and Bai Shukin were almost wretchedly invited out. As they passed in front of me, they heard me say in a voice only the three of them could hear, "I forgot to tell you, your fate-swapping ritual was a complete failure." Bai Shukin suddenly whipped her head around, looking at me with a twisted and incredulous expression. I didn't care whether she believed me or not. She would believe it soon enough anyway. Du Ziding's previous great calamity will soon find him once again. If you want to save him, then have Du Ziding bring his grandmother's heirloom, and come find me himself.